Hello, my name is Greta Harrison. Welcome to Born Fabulous Podcast Season 3, Episode 14. The theme of this season is young adults with intellectual disabilities living full lives of independence and interdependence. You will hear interviews with parents, support staff, and of course the young adults with intellectual disabilities. Please note that these interviews were done 1 to 2 years ago. Achieving independence is a complex journey for many individuals and families. There were many stops and starts with various entities when putting together Season 3. Regardless, this content is very relevant, and we hope you will find it helpful. This is the first of 3 episodes that feature Micah Fialka-Feldman and Katherine Sanderson. Katherine is one of Micah's support staff, a critical member of his team. Micah is well known as one of the stars of the acclaimed film Intelligent Lives. He is a teaching assistant at Syracuse University and a sought-after keynote speaker. Micah has an intellectual disability. Now please enjoy the short clip of The Ring. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, a young lady who had Down syndrome and was the focus of episodes 1 through 4 in Season 1. The music and voice are by Rachel Fuller. So happy to be speaking with Micah Fialka-Feldman again. I consider Micah a friend. I respect him so much. And Micah is joining us today with his friend and staff, Katherine. Would you please introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Micah. I'm 38 years old. I live in Syracuse, New York, and I teach and work at the university, and I go around and speak at many conferences, and I have a house, and I have a great circle.
That's a great introduction, because that's all true. Okay, Katherine.
I'm Katherine, and as Micah said, I'm one of his staff, and I can't remember what else I'm supposed to say right now. I've worked with Micah for about a year and have worked with other folks with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities for cumulative 20 years of my life.
Okay. And I think you also have a medical background a little bit, right?
That's right. Yeah. I was a practicing midwife for 12 years out in the Pacific Northwest. And now actually am in nursing school to pursue a psychiatric mental health degree. But yeah, Micah appreciates the health background that I have.
All right. Well, I'm honored to speak to both of you today. And let's start with the last time we spoke on Born Fabulous, Micah, which was at the beginning of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. It was literally March 2020. I was finishing recording Season 2. And we were so unsure about everything. I remember you and Tori were talking to me, and we made the decision that you and Tori would talk to me from different places because, everybody didn't know what was going on. And so Tori was in her apartment and you were in your apartment, and we just didn't know. So if you can catch us up on how you kind of got through this unusual period in everybody's lives until now.
After we did that broadcast with Tori, I had a circle meeting with my circle, and my parents were in like on a trip, and I think they were in New Zealand. My sister helped me set up a meeting, and it was very good of how she set it up. and then they like flew home, and then they had to quarantine. Back then you had to quarantine, and then I had to wait like 2 weeks to see them, and then they like drove for like a long time to pick me up, and then they drove all the way back to Michigan after that because they were like very scared to like stop anywhere. But and then I spent like from like April until till like the middle of June at home. It was interesting bringing back childhood and learning how to not have my phone when we had like meals together, and learning how to be back home. And I couldn't see anyone. It was hard, and it was just hard like being home.
You brought up so many good things in that little summary there, because first thing you mentioned was your circle of support. And it shows how important that I always tell people that you, out of all the wonderful self-advocates I know, have the strongest circle of support. You've been doing it for most of your life, and we'll go into that more later, but it was important for you at this time. Here was an unusual time. You all decided, you made a plan. Your parents came and got you. You went back home. And because I consider us to be friends, and we were in touch, so to speak, have been in touch all these years, I can add that your independence was showing through, because you were home, you liked being with your family, but then you were kind of itching to get back on your own again, right?
Oh, I did. I like I wasn't planning on being there like all that time. I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know. Nobody knew, right?
No.
Yeah. So you were ready to get back on your own when you got on your own.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And no offense to your family, because you have an amazing family, a wonderful family. Your sister, your parents, they're amazing. So yeah, I remember that your mom was speaking in New Zealand, I believe, or
She was.
she had
Yeah.
a speaking engagement there. And so, yeah, the
Yep.
timing was very unusual for all of you. Okay. And you are, just for everybody's knowledge, you are vaxxed and fully boosted against COVID, correct?
I am. Oh yeah, and I over the December holiday break, I was supposed to go to Hawaii to meet my sister's fiance, and I was all set to pack and go. And then the evening before I was going to take the train, the day after, I tested, and I got a very mild thing of COVID, but I had COVID in December.
Yeah. It was one of those cases where he never would have known that he had COVID, but was testing out of safety for the upcoming travel, and that was a big bummer.
There were no signs at all. You thought when you took the test it was going to be negative, right?
Yeah.
So because you were fully vaxxed and boosted and all those things, you had a mild case. Mm-hmm. But it was a great example. I was watching, as one of your friends, it was a great example, again, of you taking care of yourself, following everybody's advice, doctor's orders, quarantining, doing everything that you needed to do. And your parents didn't rush home or to your place.
No.
You got through it with your amazing staff, right?
Yeah.
And you were really glad when you tested negative again, weren't you?
I was.
But that did kind of mess up your holiday break.
It did.
Yeah. But you guys will make up for it. I know you will.
We will.
I know you will.
Yeah.
And before we move on, I neglected to ask for an update on Tori, because for those people who know you from season 2 with Tori, there's an amazing update with Tori, isn't there?
Yeah, she got married this past fall, and it was very fun and exciting.
We are very happy for her, aren't we? Yes. Is Tori still in school?
Yeah. She has a big test coming this month, but yeah, she's in school still.
Tori's working on her PhD.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we know when she estimates to be done?
I don't she's done. She just has to do a test, and then she'll be certified as a psychologist, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
She has to take her boards, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's close to being done.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's great. That's the update on Tori. Tori, congratulations. We send you. And what is her husband's name?
Colin.
Colin. That's right. We send you and Colin our congratulations. We're very, very happy for you. Because I remember in season 2 when you talked about being at each other's weddings, and then it happened, right? Did she
Yeah,
get married on a beach?
she did.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Okay, so you've kind of gone full circle with COVID. You've gone through the time when everybody was scared and wasn't sure and was extremely, extremely cautious, to being vaccinated and getting back out into the world more, and then getting a very mild case in December. I think it's important to state you wouldn't have even known if you hadn't tested. So, yeah. Okay, that's a great update. So thank you for that. Katherine, do you have any input on what you saw?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Do you have any input as to, from a staff person's point of view during when he had COVID?
From when you had COVID, not so much, just kind of getting, when the first test was done when I was here with Micah, and he said, "Oh, it's negative." And I said, "Well, it's not quite negative. It's not positive, but it's not quite negative. Maybe you should test again later." So then you did another test with Ash, right? Your other staff person. And he sent me a picture and said negative. And I said, still not quite. Maybe do one more test. And then the next test was clearly positive. So other than just kind of trying to then arrange for Micah to be supported during that time, since technically, we wanted to still not spread further. And I didn't end up testing positive, nor did Ash end up testing positive from there. But we were supporting you on FaceTime and cooking. I think Ash cooked some meals at their place and
They did.
Brought them to you that way. Usually Micah does cooking with staff at home, but it was okay. And then it was a short-lived, we weren't in the days of, 10 days of full quarantine. And thankfully you were able to still do your stuff, go for your walks and things. And I also wanted to say that Micah is, I believe, the only person in his classrooms on campus that continues to wear a mask during class.
That's good to know. I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'm going to guess that when you get on an airplane or public transportation or crowded situations, you'll wear a mask, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I'm in that same camp. So I know not everybody is, but just want to show that. That's great. And by him, I'm sure when he tested positive, everybody was masking, I'm sure. And okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
When we were around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about your job, Micah. I know that you mentioned in your introduction that you are at the university, but you're at Syracuse University as a teaching assistant. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a teaching assistant, and I teach 2 classes, and I like talk to students. I grade papers, and I like have been teaching since 2012.
Okay, and you have a contract. I mean,
I do, yeah, and my contract expires at the end of this year, but I'm hoping that when I send them an email, it will get renewed next fall. But that's in their hands. But hopefully,
I'm sure you'll be. I think you're an integral part of Syracuse University and Inclusive U, which is their inclusive program there. So, and I also want to point out, in case people don't know you from season 2 or know you from anything before, that you were in Intelligent Lives, Dan Habib's amazing movie, which is when I first met you. And I met you in Washington, D.C. when it was being shown at the Associated Press function.
yeah.
And you don't remember me because you were whirling around But I remember you, and I wanted to shake your hand and get a picture, and you were too busy. Micah was just far too busy. So I hope that next time I get to see you in person, it'll be a different thing. But that was a great night. There were hundreds and hundreds of people there, and being at the press club, it was very, very cool. And that was in 2018 when I first met
Wow.
you.
Yeah.
And that movie has been out since that time. So if people haven't seen it, it's available on various streaming sources, and I highly recommend it. It's an important film. And it shows a lot of your journey. It shows you at Syracuse, and shows when you graduated and you got your job. So, yeah, it shows your journey. So your job is going well, is what you're saying. And your speaking engagements, you're back to doing them?
Yeah, I am. I have a speaking engagement in Colorado in June, but I don't have too many lined up, but I do have one in June. Yeah.
So it's slowly but surely going to start picking up. One thing I want to mention that, again, I know just from being your friend, is one thing you do, Micah, is you pitch certain ideas. You're very creative and forward thinking, and you think of out of the box ideas for conferences to focus on, don't you? You like to do that, don't you?
Sometimes I do. But
Yeah.
like sometimes I get tired of speaking, but sometimes I have to have my parents nudge me and say do it, but and I say yes, I'll try it this time and do it.
Well, and you are going to be in the process of sort of revamping your PowerPoint and your speech too. I think you've gotten a little tired of the same sort of words, but revamping it and giving it some more life would make it more exciting again.
Yeah, and you have more life experience to add to it. That's true. But I remember recently you were posting on social media about an idea maybe that's the Colorado conference, I'm not sure, but an idea that you were proposing. And I thought that's really great that that's coming from the self-advocate instead of, educators or other people. So that was great. But that is one thing that you do, and you like to travel. Micah, you are now living in a house. Before, you were living in an apartment when I spoke to you back in 2020. Now you're living in a house. Tell us a little bit about this move and what you like about it, if you could.
Yeah. I moved here, and it's been 1 year of living in the house, and I have great neighbors on like the first floor, and I can still walk to campus, and I can still go to the coffee shop when I want to go to the coffee shop. I try to not go there that much, but and and I just like having the house. I'm learning how to how to have a house, and how to be more responsible of a house. And I did have a roommate, and her and he moved in last June, and then we had a great summer together, and then this and then great fall, and then I and then this with roommates, we had challenges, and it was just getting harder to harder to balance living with her.
Okay. Well, what was that, Katherine? Go ahead.
She was a busy student and was doing a lot with her schoolwork, and it just ended up not being quite the right fit. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Micah, because everybody, whether they have a disability or not, when they move out on their own and they have roommates, that is that's a concern for everybody. You've got to have the right match, and you do go through roommates. I know my older daughter, who's 35, she's on her own now, but when she first got out of college, she had some roommates. And of course, when she was in college, she had roommates. And that's just life, right? So you've got experience with roommates. You've had several over the years, haven't you? And, and a lot of times they have been students. So, and we're gonna go into that later in this interview about what you're looking for in a roommate. But so with the house, it's a house, but it's a duplex. You have a family below you. And
They're like not a family, but they are like grad students. But yeah.
Okay, so you have grad students below you, and then you have your place above.
Yeah.
But you all own the whole thing. It's not like you're leasing from anybody anymore. You all
Yeah. No.
own it.
Yeah. My like parents own it.
So your parents own the house, and it's you've got the grad students, which maybe it feels like family. Let's word it that way. Below you, right? And so you
Yeah.
have consistency with that, and then you're in the process of looking for a new roommate, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And from your viewpoint, Katherine, what's that like looking for a roommate? As a staff, you're helping support him and
Yeah. Well, I think we learned a lot from this past roommate situation. Part of what was happening when I first came to work with Micah was that his roommate at that time, Dan, was a graduating medical student and was going to be moving away to start his residency. And Dan had been your roommate at two different points, but was a really great roommate. And so you were worried about what that was going to mean, and your parents were worried about that too. So I was here for some of the, I should say I was here for all of it, but I participated a little bit in the look for the last roommate. And I think we learned more about what would make an ideal roommate for Micah based on that scenario. So yeah, now I think we get a chance to be really creative in our thinking and really intentional about kind of putting out there what you would really like, and what your circle and staff think would be the best fit for you. And you're starting to consider options that you've not considered previously. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a great opportunity. And yeah, I know roommate situations are definitely hit or miss for everybody. And it's when you find the right one, then it can last for as long as it makes sense. And that's what we're hoping to find with the next person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But with your great staff and your great circle, you're okay. Right, Micah? You're doing just fine, right? And that's really good. Thank you for listening to episode 14 of Born Fabulous Podcast 3rd season. I hope you enjoyed it and want to hear more. Short video clips from most episodes are available on our YouTube channel and on bornfabulouspodcast.com. In episode 15, you will hear Micah and Katherine discuss Katherine's role as support staff, the concept of paid neighbors, what makes great staff, what makes an ideal roommate, what Micah's parents did when he was younger to encourage his independence, and more. Please follow and like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be honored if you would leave a review wherever you heard this podcast. Now, please enjoy this clip of Love is a Potion. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, who was the focus of Season 1, Episodes 1 through 4. The music and voice are by Rachel Fuller.